So today we're going to talk a little bit about gear, right? This is kind of what a lot of people think is the most important topic of our day, but it is important. So the first is proper footwear. I cannot stress enough that your feet are doing the work, right? And so treat them good, right? And that's not just choosing the proper footwear, but it's, again, use it before the day of the event, right? Don't come up with new shoes, but you want closed-toed things. You can either have full-on hiking boots. A lot of people like myself prefer like a high-profile hiking boot that actually will help out with like rolled ankles and stuff like that. Some others would probably be fine for this, is like just a closed-toe type of like a runner, like a trail runner type of shoe. That would be fine for the terrain that we're going to be on. But the most important is for sure closed-toed and the right proper socks, and again, just really testing them before the day of the event, right? And so you want to make sure they're fit and they're comfortable, and bring extra socks and bring extra layers in case something were to happen. It's a different type of environment than you're used to hiking in.
Absolutely. Yeah. Comfortable footwear, comfortable layers, all things that you're going to want on this trip. Like he said, don't show up with brand new boots on the first day of this hike. That's a recipe for blisters. The same way, we want you to be prepared, have everything you need in your backpack, while at the same time packing efficiently. So I want to talk a little bit about what kind of backpack to bring for this trip, and then some things that you might want to have in your backpack as well. So typically for a day trek, you don't need to show up with an expedition backpack weighing 70 pounds. Something like this, a simple 20 to 30 liter backpack with a spot for your hydration, for snacks, a few extra little pockets for any gear that you might want to access quickly. These typically, by the time they're fully loaded down with your water and your food and a couple layers for the day, may weigh anywhere in the range from 10 to 25 pounds. Nothing just terrible to get up the mountain. So something simple like this design right here. Inside, we're going to talk a little bit about layering, things that you might want to bring along with you. I typically like to have a rain jacket or a wind layer, something that if we do have a pop-up shower, or it's super windy, or you're stopping for a break and you might get a little cold, a rain layer is something very easy to throw on quickly, and you can have that somewhere near the exterior of your pack. Obviously, you're going to have your water, your hydration pack, your snacks, a little bit of a first aid kit. You might also want a nice warm mid-layer. We are going to stop and take a lunch, a few breaks. You might stop at the summit or at the end of your trip to take some pictures. Those are the times you might get a little bit cool. So throwing on an extra layer can be a great thing to do before you start getting cold.
And especially to think like about your snacks, when it comes to snacks and where to pack that stuff. When you start, we're all going to want to go for probably the longest stretch we'll go without stopping is when we first start, right? That's just kind of the default how it is. So pack a couple snacks and some very easy accessible water on your body, right? So in your pocket, somewhere the reachable pocket on your pack itself, just to kind of get you through the first hour or two before you actually have to stop, pull out your pack and take it off your back and start digging into stuff. So you are going to be more apt to eat if it's accessible, more apt to drink if it's accessible. So let's try to think through that process.
Absolutely.
Some other layers, again, Evan was talking about a really good rain jacket that could also cut wind. But we're going to be above the tree line, right? We're going to be at that point where it's going to be potentially colder. That wind chill is going to go down once we get above the tree line. So bring in, whether it's a fleece or just like a mid-layer jacket like this, something just in case you get cold. I recommend bringing a short sleeve, a long sleeve, a fleece or a jacket, and some sort of wind protection, rain protection. The other things to talk about within there is they weigh nothing. Bring a winter hat, bring some gloves just in case things were to happen. There's no reason not to have stuff like this. And for those of you that might not know what this is, but just a standard buff is an incredibly practical thing to wear. Serves so many different purposes, from a sweat guard to just wiping off sweat, to wearing it on your head to protect you from sun if all of a sudden the sun is just blaring down on you, to actually causing warm around your neck or on your ears or kind of on your head. So highly recommend getting some sort of buff, or neck gaiters is what some other people call them.
Yeah.
And then the other thing I would say too is that these things are just super affordable, some just very simple dry bags. Not only do they help with organization, right? So you kind of know where things are, put all your snacks in one, put your layers in one, but if your pack does fail you and we do get some rain, right, which is possible where we're going, this would be super helpful to just kind of have the things that are super, a fleece doesn't help you if it's wet, right? So maybe put your kind of safety net stuff in one of these. And then hopefully you never have to get into it, right? But it's there just in case. And so highly recommend getting some really simple, cheap dry bags, both for organization and dry protection.
Sure.
And I mean, another thing is for the sun, guys. The sun is going to be probably the thing we're going to be fighting the most, right? So wear a hat, or bring a hat at least, just in case. Even if you're not a hat person, just in case the sun really gets out of control, having something to protect your face is going to be super super helpful. The last thing we could kind of talk about in this is another very essential, or for some, essential piece of gear are just trekking poles, right? There's not a whole lot to them. They're really, I personally believe that they're more for the downhill than they are for the uphill. We are going to be going straight up and then straight down, right? So if you don't want to use them on the uphill climb, they're very easy, very light to go ahead and just put in your backpack. And then these just help you with your balance, especially when you're starting to slide out a little bit on the way back down. Especially if you have any form of, a little bit of balance issues, I highly recommend bringing a couple trekking poles. It's just going to make you feel more comfortable, especially for the downhill descent.
Absolutely, yeah. Trekking pole is just great. A great handrail, a great handhold for you, and instill confidence on the trail. And they'll take a lot of, if you happen to have bad knees, bad joints, you can take a lot of the weight off on the descent. That's where these trekking poles really come into handy.
Yeah, we don't have a whole lot of time here, but you can watch amazing videos on YouTube or instructions on some of these. So, there's no need to go out and get the most expensive of these. It's all about weight. You shouldn't be packing a whole lot anyways. And in summary, guys, I think the most important thing about gear and your pack is layering. We are going to have winds come through. It's going to get chilly. We're going to have the sun blaring. It's going to get hot. Do not let yourself get sweaty, right? Do not let yourself get to the sweaty to the point where all of a sudden your underlayer is soaked and you have to, things start to get cold and all of a sudden you're just kind of not protected from the elements anymore. So just like the blisters, just like if you feel a hot spot coming on a blister, if you feel yourself starting to get overheated a little bit, take a 3-minute stop, take out your pack, put one layer off and put it in the pack. And in reverse, do it early before you start getting too cold to put an extra layer on. So nobody's gonna have a problem with us just slowing down for 3 or 4 minutes while we take layers off every once in a while.